everyone, welcome to Chapter 40 on my RLDR Custom Creations YouTube channel. And I'm standing by the lathe again and, oh, wait a minute. We're not doing a lathe thing today. Sheila and I are going to show you our garden today. So that's what's coming up. I told you last video there'd be something different. But while I'm here, I can turn with anything. Okay, let's go look at our garden. Well, like I said, this was going to show you a little bit about our garden system that we've set up here. And the second voice you're going to hear of this video is Sheila, and it's kind of under protest. She's really not into this whole YouTube thing. So, but we're both going to stay behind the camera. That was the only way I could get her to help. So that's going to be just the way it is. First of all, you'll notice that we have kind of gone to the container system. You'll notice that there's lots of pails here. And those 20-liter pails are what the color, the stucco color for our house came in. So Sheila just diligently washed them out as I used them, and we're using them here. So we're not advertising for Stowe indirectly, but it's just they're free pails, so we used them. But then we've have what, six wooden beds, kind of. This one's on the ground, and we have a rhubarb plant that is supernatural, and it bushels like crazy every year. So we wanted to get it away from our main traffic area. It's killing the lawn there. So we took part of it and transplanted it here. Hopefully it'll go. And that's what, and I noticed some other things in there. Sheila, what are those other plants in there?
Marigolds.
Oh yeah, there's some flowers to it.
I did so that the aphids wouldn't land on the rhubarb leaves in fall. The marigolds will keep the aphids away from my rhubarb.
See, that's why I have her here today, because I know nothing about this. I can tell you how the beds were built and how the dirt got in the beds, but after that, I know nothing. And speaking about the beds, they are basically rough jack pine. This is wood that I would buy for the school when I was teaching. And my last year of teaching, I had a couple of girls that would always come into the shop. They claimed they were finished their other work, and they'd come there and hang out. I suspect it was because there were a couple of boys there that they found interesting. So eventually I put them to work, and we had lots of 26, 28-inch offcuts. So basically we built all the walls for the beds. I would cut material for them and they'd staple it together, and that's how the beds got made. So let's see, this one is rhubarb and some marigolds. The next one is
Potatoes.
That's potatoes?
Yes.
Okay, I thought potatoes was the next one.
No, that's carrots.
Okay, so we've got potatoes in here, and the pails as well. And we've been watching, oh, what are their names again? There's a channel on YouTube, Hollis and Nancy, Hollis and Nancy Homestead, that's the channel. And they container garden a lot, and we took some tips from them. Last week when I should have been tiling, I stirred the dirt up for Sheila here, and in these pails it's really easy. I would just spread the tarp out, dump the pail, loosen everything up, and we added a little bit of peat to some of them, or peat moss, sorry, to some of them, and that worked really well. It's just, you're not shoveling and digging, and it takes, for me anyway, it takes a lot of work out of the gardening. What do you think about that?
I think it works fine. It'll be easier to harvest because you can repeat that same system of dumping it out and just taking the potatoes out rather than digging and trying to dig them with a fork and not hit anything.
Yeah. These pails here, these are all potatoes.
That's correct.
The other thing that I think is amazing about this system, like we're not going to do it this year, but you can move these pails anywhere. So we could put pails of potatoes in our ditch here and use that space, which normally you wouldn't be able to use for gardening. So I think personally, if I ever have to garden on my own here, I would never go back to just a plot in the ground. Those days are over. So anyway, let's move along here. These are potatoes, as we said. This one's potatoes. Okay, when you, I noticed that when Sheila was planting these potatoes, she asked me for a 12-inch circumference disc, which is what the top of those pails are. And she kind of laid it out here to space the potatoes about the same as what's in the pails. So that seemed like a good idea. I think it'll work just fine. Okay, what's in the next one?
Carrots.
So how many carrot plants did you get in there? About?
I don't know. I did 4 rows lengthwise, so they're pretty close. But we had raised beds years ago, and I found with those, just having the soil, nobody walking on it or anything, the soil could produce a lot more, and everything could be tighter. So this year is the first year I'm planting in these types of beds, so we will be doing some experimenting as to the placement of which vegetables because of the sun and the building that it sits beside. Now it does all get sun at some point in the day, but this one here with the carrots and where the potatoes are behind us here, they get the most sun. So I planted some carrots here. I also planted some carrots in some of the pails up there just to see how they would do.
Yeah, that's another experiment that we're not used to having sunlight on this yard, because this yard used to be surrounded by 60-foot tower poplars. So with the poplar borer beetle making me invest in a chainsaw and cutting them all down, our yard now has a lot more light. But in this area here, we've got our storage garage, and then the neighbor's house and their fence, and there's just less sunlight in this area. So I think you've tried to put things in here that you think will do okay with the amount of light this is going to get.
We're definitely trying that, yeah.
Yeah, so let's walk through here. What was in this little guy here? Sorry, I'm going to just swing around. Just want to make sure that I don't get my wife in the camera, because then I'd have to edit this all. What's in this one?
Potatoes.
This is potatoes as well?
Yep.
Okay.
It's just got more shade.
Okay, and then these 3 here.
These, all 12 of these are peas.
12.
Yeah, they're not,
Okay.
they're not snap peas or those type of peas. They're the shelling type of peas. I put in homesteaders, which
Okay.
is what my mom always did. They bushel the most they give you the biggest bang for your buck.
And the grandkids like to pick them.
Yes. I had some last year in our old beds, and between my son and my grandsons, we had some to eat and a little bit to freeze, but they managed to clean out quite a few of them.
Okay, are we to the end of peas here?
That's the end of peas.
Okay, what's this bed?
I wish I knew.
Corn? Didn't plant any corn.
Didn't plant any corn.
Onions?
No,
they're at
onions
the
are
end.
in the end.
Okay, well, this is a mystery bed, so I guess when it comes up, we'll maybe shoot again and tell you.
I think this is carrots as well.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
It's just got not as much sun as the other one either. And I can carrots, I can freeze carrots. We can keep some for storage. Last year's onions stayed very well,
Yeah.
and we had onions till end of March. So I'm hoping that the carrots and potatoes will do as well as the onions did last year.
I think they're going to get enough light. I don't know, call me an optimist, but... And these are tomatoes.
Those are my beefsteak.
Okay,
They're the big ones. They can be up to a pound a piece. Previous years that I've grown them in the small beds to the side here, I've grown them there, and I have gotten some tomatoes that are a pound and just as big as my whole hand. So,
wow. The beefsteak, that doesn't sound right. That sounds like they should be good.
yeah, they are.
They're not.
Yeah, you don't like
Okay,
tomatoes.
well,
that's
the
all.
only thing tomatoes are good for is throwing.
No.
Okay, so this is onions.
And that's my big onions, yeah. I don't grow any small onions for the tops. I just use tops off of my big onions when I want them. But mostly we just eat the big onions for hot dogs, hamburgers, in meals. And like I said, ours last year stayed nice and firm till end of March.
Yeah, and we go through quite a few onions.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the next thing there, you'll notice our firewood rack, and that wood in there is from our tower poplars, and you can see if you look closely, I don't know if the camera will pick it up, how riddled with holes it is, and that's the poplar borer beetles that did all that. So that's made out of, I think 2-inch tube steel, and little sunshine face that our grandson gave you for Christmas one year, right? Or birthday?
That's correct. No, Christmas.
Okay, so we got more pails here, and these even I think I can identify, and it looks like more tomatoes.
More tomatoes. These 4 plants in the pots.
And then the one back there is onions.
The one back there is onions. These are tomatoes. These are the little yellow,
cherry
orange miniature ones. Very, very sweet. I've grown them now for numerous years, and I've converted a lot of people from Tiny Tims to these type.
Okay, and this is another onions here, but what about those two?
Those are carrots. I want to see how carrots
Oh,
do
okay.
in pails.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good idea. Okay, and there's some more here to be planted yet, I think. Is
No,
that? Or
they're
those
done.
are duds. Okay, well, our deck is a little bit messy with chairs and things. The nice thing too about, moving the pails around. Like I have tennis elbow quite bad, and it's really kind of been bugging me during the tiling project. But this blue wheeler here is really nice to move the pails around, so you don't have to work as hard, and that's why I like this system. So what's in here?
These 2 long ones here, these are ones that I've used for a lot of years. Glenn has been building me them. Those are beans. This year I put these 2 into beans. Last year they were in tomatoes, and they did well.
They did really well.
We just have to, I just don't plant the same thing in the same spot 2 years in a row.
Sounds wise. Okay, and then here we've got some more containers.
The flower pot, I guess you could call it, the gray one here, that is, I planted some spinach. The next one is basil, rosemary,
So
thyme.
we're getting into the spices here.
Thyme and...
Those are spices, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. Impressing everybody
herbs.
with my knowledge of gardening, yeah.
And then, yeah, these are dill and savory, summer savory.
Okay,
And that's another little orange tomato one.
okay, and then
The wind has been absolutely awful. The weather has been really bad. My peppers, as you can see, are turning beautiful with a little bit of...
oh, these are peppers.
Yeah, and once the roots take off, I'm sure they'll be fine.
Oh, I think
They're from the center. They're growing, so they'll do well.
we've had a lot of wind here lately, which has been, in fact, I had to put on about 7 or 8 pieces of ridge cap on our house, which really surprised me. And we're heading down to the last bit here, and these look like peas to me.
No,
No?
these are cucumbers this year.
Oh, you're
I use
the
this.
climbers.
I
Okay.
will use the same system for my peas. I haven't got
Yeah,
them up yet.
This worked really good.
But my cucumbers are here. This one here is the little pickling cucumbers, and the other one is the long
And-
English ones.
And this bamboo we've had for years. Like,
Yeah.
It's just cheap bamboo stakes from what, Dollarama?
Yeah.
And the wire we can't seem to find these days again, but I have
there.
a bunch of stucco wire left over, so we'll use that. And this is the last.
yeah, the wood bed is my beans, or my long English cucumbers, and then I planted some more marigolds there just to keep the bugs away, and hopefully that'll help keep the bugs. And then I have a few there that I have to transplant yet.
But I think one of the things I really like about this system, and you can see our deck is a little unorganized here because we've been working, but it's all portable. We can move anything. Now, mind you, moving those bigger beds with all the dirt in there would be tough. But I mean, you can empty them and you can move them. But if we would till a spot back there, that's it. And there's no more, in fact, there's less light there than there is here. So this was a really, really good way to make use of the space that really on most yards at 5 feet to the neighbors, that's kind of wasted space. Whereas here, this is where our tower poplars stood. They were right on, well, just on our property. And so we've taken useless ground and now used it to feed us for a while, which is, I think, a wonderful thing. Let's start heading back this way here. Oh no, let's go this way. I just changed my mind.
It's so messy.
Well, that's okay. I wanted to show people this trellis or kind of garden arch. This was from Sheila's mom. It was her garden arch, or her archway along the path into her garden. And we used it as is for a number of years. And then the very, very light steel that it was made of started basically rusting out and it was rotten. So last fall, I bought a bunch of 3/4 by 3/4 100 wall steel and rebuilt it. And I just took the graphics out of the original and made new framework. Added a few things, a little bit of an archway there. I think that's kind of nice, and little gussets here to hold the corners together. I just cut them into maple leaves. So that has worked out really well. So now we can get our lawn tractor through here. And yeah, we got some work to do here yet. Yeah, here's that rhubarb plant that doesn't know how not to grow. That thing is amazing. Anyway, so I think we're kind of back to the beginning here now. It's a beautiful evening. Sure, it was a miserable day with the wind, but we're basically back. The other thing that's good about this garden location is it's a little more sheltered from the wind. We get winds kind of howling along the street here, and there's a little bit of stuff in the way so that we can take, the plants don't take the full brunt of the wind. Anything else you'd like to say yet? Because I think we're kind of done.
Yep.
Okay, that's my wife, a few words. Just a little bit of a change of pace in the videos that I shoot. And remember what I said in the very first one, I was going to shoot what I was doing and basically forgetting about how to be really successful on YouTube. Because when you don't really specialize in something, apparently that's a problem. So anyway, this is what I did. This is what we did last week. I didn't plant anything. I just stirred the dirt and emptied the pails and moved things around. I was the muscle. My wife was the brains, as usual. So yeah, with that in mind, we're going to end this little tour around our yard. Remember to like and subscribe and all those wonderful things. And I think next there'll be another video towards the end of this coming week. And guess what? We're going to be in the bathroom again. I've been making some headways in there. So anyway, remember to watch, like, subscribe, and have an awesome week, everyone.